I'm not going to talk in votes on morning. It's just to advise them they need to start getting ready for whatever action they're going to take.
How's it going? How are you? Good.
She gave you the percentages.
Morning. How are you?
Morning, sir.
Computer's out.
Too much money.
Oh, I hadn't seen a computer XP in a while.
Board president of work? Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, we're gonna make it. I'm gonna probably make 4 today and 1 next week. And, you know, I'll give that resignation a little bit of time.
I don't have the page for them to sign.
The what?
Page for them to sign. Oh, there it is. Sorry. How are you, Mr. Benya?
I'm fine. You still?
Oh, okay.
On a long weekend, I can.
Oh, I see. I see.
That's not one day. That's not overnight.
During the week, le quito las pandillas and
Start working on it.
then, you know, either.
So by next Monday, you'll be clear.
I'm good for like early.
¿Por qué, Tito? No hay quien te vaya a correr.
Mira dónde estamos by 11 o'clock.
We got a workshop también. Pero, hey, you need to go, you need to go. Vamos a empezar entonces. Morning.
Good morning, Judge.
Good morning. We want to welcome you this morning to this meeting of the Drainage District Board of Directors for today, November the 13th, 2012. Present are Commissioners Palacios, Precinct 2, Palacios, Precinct 4, and myself. We have a quorum. Is there anybody signed up?
No, sir.
All right, item 3, approval of our consent agenda.
No concerns on the check register, Judge.
So move. Check.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 4, our delinquent tax collection report.
Yes, our presentation on delinquent tax collection report by Purdue, Brandon, Fiddler, Collins, and Mott LLP in association with the law office of John David Franz. We do have some representatives here to give the quarter report.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Hiram Gutierrez, a partner with Purdue, Brandon, Fielder, Collins, and Mott in association with John David Franz, your delinquent tax attorneys. I'm here to present you with your fiscal 2011-2012 delinquent tax collection report, and it's there for you and review and see if you have any questions. I have also provided you with a handout with showing some of the highlights of the collections for this past fiscal year. And I'll quickly go over it with you. During the 2011-2012 fiscal year, we collected $12,286,000 in base tax.
Are you talking about the drainage district?
No, this is the county.
Well, don't you also collect it for the drainage district?
Yes, we do, Judge. What we had here was the county's collection report.
Well, I'd like to hear from, we're in the drainage district meeting.
Okay.
And if you could just limit yourself to drainage district, and maybe by then we'll have more commissioners show up and you'll have the entire body.
Okay. Let me just show you one slide that has the drainage district collections, and that's the last page on your handout. During the 2011-2012 fiscal year, we collected $1,413 in base tax and an additional $478,000 in penalties and interest, for a grand total of $1,892. And as you can see there's a comparison with last fiscal year. And I'll reserve the rest of the report for the next meeting, and if you have any questions at this point, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I noticed you collected more in penalties and interest than in actual collections compared to last year.
Yes.
And what do you attribute that to?
When you collect older years, the older years have more penalties and interest, so we obviously had some older years come in that increased the penalties and interest in comparison to the base tax.
All right, sir. Are there any questions, Commissioners?
No.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Judge. Commissioners.
Item 5.
Item 5, discussion and possible action on the development of the proposed drainage system update. Judge, Commissioners, as y'all are aware, I'd like to thank all the committees and the staff from the elected officials in the different community for the passage of the proposed bond referendum that was just gone through in the November election. What I'd like to bring the board up to speed on is we need for the board to start considering some of the assets that the drainage district will be purchasing from y'all, and also for the board to begin consideration as to what projects they might be looking at themselves. By that I'm referring to there's about $10 million that the drainage district is going to buy assets from the county. It would be helpful if the board would start looking at what particular assets the drainage district would be purchasing, and also to begin the process of what particular projects each precinct might be looking at. As y'all are aware, there's about $15 million associated with drainage improvements in different areas of the county. And what we're trying to do is get as much of the administrative work out of the way for when we move forward, if all is in order, for the selling of the bond in February of next year. And thus, come March 1st, we can do the transfer and the acquisition at that time. In addition to that, we'll be coming before the board probably within the next several weeks for the board to consider what we call an advanced funding resolution, which gives us the ability to start moving some of the projects right now before the selling of the bonds, understanding that the bonds will be sold. And the reason we're looking at that is we want to get construction going, especially on the pumping systems that are associated with the floodway prior to the June 1st. So we will try to deal more in specifics with this board in the upcoming weeks and bring that for y'all's consideration. We're hoping that we can get everything lined up and delineated, that by the time March 1st comes around, that the fund will be made available, that we'll have plans, specs, and outbidding already so we can award come March 1st and thus begin construction around the latter part of March or April, specifically on the pumping systems that are of great importance to us on getting water into the floodway system. And it's an open discussion for whatever input the board might want to give us so we can consider.
Godfrey, question number 1 on when we're talking about assets, we're talking about structures, we're talking about land acquisition, projects that we put on the ground, or are we talking about the reimbursement of labor hours? And can you help best define that?
What I'm looking at right now, Commissioner, when this board moved forward on different drainage improvements similar to what Commissioner Palacios has done on several drainages in this area, the detention pond in your specific area, and those are the two that come to mind right now. The board moved forward on following the master plan of the drainage district, knowing that the district sooner or later would be acquiring those assets. Now, from what I understand, the auditor's office has been keeping track of all expenditures, may it be land, may it be construction, may it be engineering, may it be labor hours associated to the improvements that the county has done. So that is what I'm requesting, that y'all get together and find out how much has been expended from the county and get together on what specific projects we will be buying from y'all. I'll let Ray explain some of the details on what they've kept track of.
But I think that, are you referring to those assets that the county purchased with the COs that the county sold? Yeah, and those, I think those were engineering costs, equipment.
Construction.
And right away, I believe.
And
those are the three
construction.
main things.
Yes, sir.
That the county purchased.
Yes, sir.
And I guess the plan back then was that the drainage district was going to purchase those from the county at a later date.
That is correct, sir.
Well, it's going to be a daunting task for the court because just in respect to what we've done in our precinct, we're looking about close to way over the $10 million mark.
Oh, that's probably about $35 million near. Probably Commissioner Palacios has another $25 million. So, and we have $10 million assessed to try to acquire assets from the county itself.
Godfrey, but I think on top of that, the discussion back then was that the ponds that are in precinct 4, that they were going to be purchased by drainage district, or at least take over the maintenance of those, right?
The maintenance is not the problem. That'll be done through the interlocals that legal can draft up for the maintenance of the system. But the actual acquisition of the assets, what we've done in the past, as the precincts have gone through there and excavated ditches or clean ditches, they're going through the process of turning those over to the district for maintenance purposes only, not for the actual land acquisition. The county has done that with numerous irrigation districts, and basically it's transferred assets over for M&O purposes while the asset has been cleared out.
Right, it's, I can imagine we'd have to set up a priority system. At the end of the day, there's some structures that we have that technically serve the purpose of the drainage district. I don't know how we begin to demonstrate which ones has more priority than the other, but at the end of the day, I'm willing to work with the court members to figure out what the best methodology would be to follow for the disbursement of the $10 million. At the end of the day, it becomes a revolving door for us. We still have projects on the ground that still need to be done within the rural area. So we're just looking at getting that money back and putting it back on the ground. There are some, when we talk about the $50 million for rural development, I mean, we have plans that have been designed already that we're ready to turn dirt. So we're looking forward to whether it's through the $10 million or the $50 million rural development plan to put projects on the ground as soon as possible. I think that our constituent base is going to be very adamant about seeing results with this last passenger bond issuance. It was passed with, I believe it was almost 75%.
That is correct,
which is pretty astronomical, a lot higher than I thought. But merely the public has supported it. We just want to make sure we put projects on the ground. Now, our hope is that we have every expectation to do a lot of the construction work in-house so that we can stretch every dollar we possibly can. So
what we'd like to do, Commissioner, is get with your office. I know that you have several projects that have been designed and completed, and you've been waiting for monies to move the projects forward, and to try to get those projects onto the books of the district through the action of the board to get them ready for advertisement or whichever process we're going to utilize for construction.
Right, and one of the things that happened with us when you had the GLO funding come in, a lot of the bad part about what happened with us is we were extremely proactive that we built the structure already and didn't qualify ourselves for federal assistance. Now we're at the back end of it. Hopefully that the court would be considerate that we didn't receive as much GLO funding as the other precincts, but we're hoping to just take every dollar, every bond dollar, whether it's county dollar, to figure out how we can stretch it and put more projects on the ground.
And that's why I think we're at a good time right now to get all this administrative process out of the way. So when the funds do become available, we don't wait another 3 months or 2 months to get that clearance out of the way, sir.
Good deal.
Well, I'd like to begin by expressing our gratitude on behalf of the Drainage District Board of Directors and, frankly, the County Commissioners Court of Hidalgo County to the overwhelming number of people that supported this project during this last election. We had 140,982 people cast a ballot, and almost 75% of that number voted in favor of this particular project. This is a project that, knowing when they walked in there, they were going to be voting. If they voted in support of it, they would be voting to have a tax imposed by the drainage district on their respective properties. Obviously, the community was convinced of the need, and that needs to be addressed. And in that regard, I want to make sure we thank publicly the 25-member Citizen Advisory Committee that dedicated many hours, throughout the various months to listen to engineers identify the need, to listen to hydrologists and other water experts talk about how you address the need, and to finance people about how to pay for all these different projects that we were going to be involved in. And finally, identifying those 24, 25 respective projects. And then especially the co-chairs, Mr. Frank Fajardo, a professor at Pan American University, and Mr. Jim Darling, the city commissioner. They've served as co-chairs of the Citizen Advisory Committee for their efforts and involvement in trying to educate the citizens of Hidalgo County. And we also want to express our gratitude for the support that was given by over 45 public bodies, which included school districts and communities, cities, water districts, irrigation districts throughout our county, all of them adopting a resolution of support in favor of this bond referendum. And in that regard, we want to make sure that we acknowledge this, I guess, expression of trust in this Drainage District Board. And I know that we're going to be looking at what we do very carefully and make sure that whatever we do is done in proper protocol, and make sure that we satisfy the need to express that trust that has been communicated to us to the public. I would like, Godfrey, in that regard, if there's any possibility of getting a written timeline on each one of these 25 projects so that we can all know what's coming up next and what needs to be addressed on each one of the 25 issues or projects that we identified on this bond referendum.
I want to put that timetable together, Judge and Commissioners, to present to y'all at the time that we go forward with the advanced funding resolution. Without the advanced funding resolution, we really can't get anything started till March. And I'd hate to waste 3 months or 4 months administrative work when we can move forward on it. So probably within the next week or two, I will be coming to y'all with the timelines. And again, based on the board moving forward on an advanced funding resolution for these projects. But I think it's very important that we get these pumping structures in motion prior to the June 1st. Otherwise, we have to sit out a full year before we get going again on them. Because during hurricane season, we're shut down.
Oh, it's going to be here pretty quick.
Yes, sir.
All right, sir.
May I move on, sir? Can I continue, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay, item number 6, approval and authorization for submittal of the Phase 2 MS4 annual report to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. We're prepared to submit in our Year 5 report, Commissioners. We can judge. We do this every year. This will be our last year of submitting of this report. Then we will start evaluating the new rules that have come out to amend this MS4 report. But this is our 5th year reporting. Everything's in order. I'd like for the board's consideration to submit this to TCEQ.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item number 7, I'd like for the board to consider no action on number 7 at this time. Item 7B, request approval of final negotiated serving service contract approved for negotiation by the Board of Directors 11/06/2012 with Quintanilla Hadley & Associates for the West Main Drain Extension east of Ware Road and Mile 9. The cost on that is $2,800 for the parcel that we need surveyed.
Godfrey,
Yes, sir.
I thought the board took no action on those 2 items last time.
The board took action to begin negotiations. We've done negotiations. We come back to this board with a final contract amount. That is the process that we're utilizing.
Okay. I thought they had just taken no action as a whole, because you had a request for exemption and then...
Yes, sir, and then we brought it back. We requested an exemption, then we brought it back because we had not used the word authorization for negotiation. We brought that back last week for authorization for negotiation. We moved forward with the negotiations this past week, and we're coming forward this week with the final negotiated dollar.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you for your input.
So moved.
Get a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 8, presentation of scoring grid of the firms evaluated through the district's pool of title companies for the purpose of ranking by Hidalgo County Drainage number 1 Board of Directors in connection with the title commitment for the West Main Drain Extension east of Ware Road and Mile 9. Valley Land Title with a scoring of 95 and Edwards Abstract with scoring of number 90. Again, it's for 1 parcel of land.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item B, requesting authority to negotiate with title company service contract with the number 1 ranked firm of Valley Land and Title for the provision of title commitment services related to West Main Drain East Extension east of Ware Road and Mile 9.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Godfrey, is there any way to include, there's only about 5 or 6 title companies in a county. Any way to include them all in the pool and then just alternate so that we can make sure that every one of them gets, a piece of the project, so to speak?
Judge, what we've done is we put out an RFQ, and the companies that did submit are the ones that we have on our list. We have been talking to legal counsel, as to what provisions we have or ability. If we have a project that has 4 title reports, we give 2 and 2. At this time, we have not been able to get a direction on that. I know the county does not have that provision either. It's basically when a project comes out that the board ranks and selects one firm. I defer to legal any comments he might have on how we would move forward on that.
Well, first of all, if they don't respond to the RFP, they don't get in the pool. And if there's not a pool, then you have to do bids every time you want to take
I've been
title.
told that the reason that some of them don't is because they just don't feel they're going to be considered.
Well, unless they submit, it's kind of like buying a lottery ticket. If you don't buy one, you're not in the lottery to try to win it.
Well, I mean, there's only 5 or 6. They all do the same thing. I mean, there's no difference in the work that they do. They all competent, qualified. They've been certified by the state.
I agree. But procedurally, if they don't submit to the pool, then we can't do anything about it.
Okay. All right, well, we'll make sure that they all understand that everybody will have an opportunity, and then we'll take it from there. Okay.
Item 9 is approval and concurrence of TxDOT proposed plan for City Street Improvement CSJ 0921-02170, Mile 2 West. Basically, the plans are completed, and again, as requested by the board, we submit these for the concurrent review or approval by the board. And that's just associated with the drainage that they've got to put into it.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, we do have an item under closed session for the board's consideration.
Trouble.
This time pursuant to 551-071 and 072, need a motion to proceed to executive session. And a second, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We'll be in executive session for a short while.
Yes, sir.
Need a motion to adjourn? So moved. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. All right, at this time, we convene our regular Hidalgo County Commissioners Court meeting for today, November 13, 2012. Present are Commissioners Palacios, Precinct 2, Flores, Precinct 3, Palacios, Precinct 4, and myself. We have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Townsend.
Dear Father in heaven, we're here today to get the work of the county done together. And please help us work together for the good of everybody. Please help our veterans, bless our defenders of our freedom, bless our nation. And we thank you for all your blessings that you do give us. And send rain, dear Lord, please. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen.
All right, any concerns with the consent agenda, Mr. Ocasio?
I don't have any, Judge, unless anyone else has any concerns, recommend approval.
So moved.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. Under item 5A, we want to acknowledge the presence of South Texas Independent School District Chairman, Mr. Homero Garcia, who joins us here this morning, and also the Superintendent of South Texas Independent School District is Dr. Marla Guerra. Good morning and welcome. And today there's 4 vacancies or whose terms have expired, creating 4 vacancies on the board. And that the first item is the acceptance of the resignation of Cain Cáceres, currently a member of the board who has submitted a letter of resignation. Mr. Cáceres, as I understand it, suffered a stroke and his health does not allow him to attend meetings, and has requested that we accept his resignation. I would entertain a motion to that effect.
Move to approve. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. On the issue of the appointments or reappointments, I would be reappointing Ms. Sylvia Garza, who is currently a member whose term has expired, but I'm going to be reappointing her to another term. Yolanda Cuellar. Ms. Garza is from Edinburgh. He's currently serving as board member for the past 4 years, has received the required board member training, and serves in the Building and Facilities Committee. And Ms. Yolanda Cuellar from Progreso Lakes, currently serving as a board member also for the past 4 years, has achieved the required board member training, served in Policy and Curriculum Committee, and who also happens to be the wife of our newly elected County Commissioner, Mr. A.C. Cuellar. And my third appointment is Mr. Ramon Montalvo. Mr. Montalvo is the owner of Montalvo Insurance Agency from the Westlaco, Texas area, and he'll be serving as a community member on the board. And the fourth one will be Dr. Richard Fleming, who is both a family practice physician and a emergency room physician. He is the head of one of the ER groups that provides health care to the residents of our area, providing health care in about 4 different hospitals. He's affiliated with Mission Regional Medical Center, resides in Mission, and graduate of Mayo University. And those are the 4 appointments that I'll be making at this time, and we'll be submitting next week the appointment to be named to replace Mr. Cáceres.
Do you need action for that, Judge?
Yes.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. I certainly want to congratulate you for the work that you're doing on that school district, all of you here. There was such an interest in people wanting to get appointed to serve on the board, and every one of them talked about the good work that's being done, and I just want to make sure that that's acknowledged and that you're congratulated for that. And if you don't have any desire to make any kind of a statement. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. I'm Yolanda Cuellar, and I want to thank you for reappointing me to the board. It certainly has been an honor and privilege to serve Hidalgo County. Currently, I am serving on a leadership course, which is very intense and rigorous. We get together with different board members throughout the state through an entire year to learn different trends that are currently going on in our state, and certainly this does help us to make better decisions for our own school board here at South Texas. So once again, thank you for reappointing me.
Now, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Garcia.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I'm here just to say thank you for everything you've done for our district, and we really appreciate your appointments, and we work as a family. We don't see any problems in the future, and we're just moving forward, and we welcome you to come visit with us at any time. Thank you very much.
No, well, thank you, and if you don't mind, I think they want to take a picture. If you could bring Dr. Guerra and our board member, Ms. Cuellar. And the other young lady who is also here, what can she do the honor and come forward and yeah, can you come move back a little bit, please? Very good. Bye-bye. You're welcome. That's right. Keep it up. Yes, sir. ¿Cuándo les caigo por ahí? All right. Item 6, Mr. Guerra.
Thank you, Judge. There's no action under item 6A, 1 and 2. Is Mr. Sunday in the audience? Mr. Sunday, is there any major update from the last one you gave last week? No? Okay, Judge. We're on target with respect to the modular project.
All right, sir.
Item 6C under our environmental compliance, I'm requesting authorization for Commissioner Joseph Palacios to sign a delegation of responsible official form to allow county environmental compliance coordinators submit the required reports to TCQ for our Precinct 4 air curtain incinerator.
Need a motion to approve? Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. 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 Motion carries.
Item D, 6D, Judge, Commissioners, I'm asking permission for I'm requesting of the Commissioners Court permission for the Edinburgh Chamber of Commerce to use our county square for the Night of Lights Parade on Saturday, December 1st in the evening.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. 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 Motion carries.
And we have a presentation by our delinquent tax collection collection report by Purdue, Brandon Fielder, Colin Mott in association with the losses of John David Franz.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Hiram Gutierrez, a partner with Purdue, Brandon Fielder, Collins and Mott in association with John David Franz. I'm here to present you with the fiscal year collection report for the 2011-2012 fiscal year. I have the report and I'm ready to answer any questions regarding the report. However, I would like to present you with some highlights of the fiscal year. For the 2011-2012 fiscal year, the base tax collections were $12,286,000. As you can see, there's a comparison with last fiscal year, so there is a drop in collections from the previous year. In addition to the base tax collected, an additional $4,385,000 was collected for a grand total of $16,672. This graph represents in a percentage basis the collection rate. This year we collected 33.87% of the delinquent tax roll as opposed to last year's 34.68%. This graph represents in dollars for the last 7 years of the base tax penalties and interest collected. The far left, the red column, represents 2005, 2006 fiscal year. That's when it was collected by your previous firm. As you can see, back then, the collections were $13.2 million. The following year, it was a mix. That's when we came in. Both firms were collecting, and collections shot up to $14,948,000. And as you can see, you can see the subsequent years after that where we have been collecting for the county. This graph represents a comparison between the county and two other county-wide collection entities. That is South Texas ISD and South Texas College. On the far left fiscal year, you see the county was at 36%, STC was a little bit higher, and South Texas ISD was at 32.70%. The next fiscal year, we were solely responsible for the county collections, and at that point, collections at the county remained at over 35%, while the other entities dropped. And then, of course, on your far right is the last fiscal year, the 2011-2012 fiscal year. And as you can see, you're outpacing the other two entities that have county-wide collections. Now, one thing to take into consideration here is that the fiscal years between the other two entities and the county do not run concurrently, and that can affect the collection rate. So I'm showing this for purposes of trending, but not necessarily as far as actual performance. This graph here represents the drainage district, which I already presented in the previous meeting. This is in addition to the $16+ million that were collected for the county. For the drainage district, we collected an additional $1,413,000 in base tax and $478,000 in penalties and interest, for a grand total of $1,892,125. And that's the conclusion of my presentation, and I'd like to open it up for any questions you might have.
What do you attribute the decline to?
Well, the turnovers have been shrinking. That is, what you turn over on July 1st to the taxing entities, to the delinquent tax attorneys, has been shrinking. And the reason for that is because your current collections are increasing. You're doing a better job. The tax office is doing a better job of collecting the current year. That current year that gets turned over to us, that's the one where we have the most success in collecting. So naturally, if that current year shrinks, the turnover shrinks, that's going to have an effect on your delinquent tax collections.
And why did you select South Texas College and ISD to compare us to?
Countywide.
They're both county-wide collection entities. They collect throughout the whole county.
All right. Are there any questions, any other questions? If not, we want to thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Judge, Commissioners. Have a good day.
Item 6F, Judge Commissioners, requesting permission to advertise and hire the following position, a Health Inspector 2, which is a grade 9. There is an agenda concern, but I do want to clarify one thing. There was a lag time with respect to the paperwork. The effective was November 5th. That's been confirmed. So again, there was just a lag in the paperwork being processed. The position is vacant.
So no longer filled, but
No, sir, it's no longer filled. It was just a lag time in how the paperwork was processed. Thank you.
Has this been cleared, I guess, with HR, like all of them should be? I don't know, I don't see Esther here.
Oh, Esther had, she let me know that she had a procedure for today.
All right, sir. Do you have a motion and a second?
Yeah.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I'm asking the same action on item G, a Deputy Fire Marshal, a grade 10. The gentleman who occupied this slot has retired.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item H, I'm asking for Mr. Martinez, Juan Martinez, our Fire Marshal, and Tommy Ureste, Deputy Fire Marshal, to attend a forensic analysis of our dynamic seminar by the South Texas Fire Investigators Association. This will be this month, November 28th through the 30th at South Padre Island.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item I is discussion, consideration, and action on relocation of 430th District Court. Judge Commissioners, with respect to the modular building project, the space that was originally looked at for the 430th is not conducive. It just will not work. It is the configuration and the square footage. I guess the bottom line is the square footage of the current space that had been looked at is just too small for a district court. And so I'm bringing it before the court attention to see what the court's thoughts are on the relocation of
Right,
430th
this is
District
Judge
Court.
Israel Ramon's district court.
Yes, sir.
We currently have a lease agreement with Mr. Joe Garcia on a property, I don't remember the 9th Street, is it, Father? Well, that,
yes.
About a block from the courthouse. That lease agreement is for approximately, what is it, $10,000 a month? That's what I was.
Yes, yes.
You know,
About 10,000 a month. It's about
And that
120.
expires sometime in December, and we need to find, we can either get involved in releasing it at that rate, or negotiate a rate, or find another place to locate the 430th. What we're suggesting is that the courthouse, the second floor of the courthouse is where all the district courts are located, and currently Judge Arnoldo Cantu's County Court at Law took over the old 206th District Court, and a district court needs more space in a county court at law because they have 12 member juries as opposed to 6 member juries, and when you're impaneling a jury, you know, you need space for about 60 to 80 people. And the only place on that second floor where all the district courts are is that particular courtroom. Mr. Guerra and I have been out there looking at all of the spaces that are available in our old courthouse, and there is space on the 3rd floor where all the county courts of law are to locate a courtroom for the county court at law. What number is it, brother?
You're talking about the old master court.
Right, the old master court?
Right, it's, and I say old master court loosely, I'm sorry. It's, I believe it's master court 2.
Well, either master court 2, or we had talked about moving it up to the 3rd floor where all the other county courts at law are. That might take a while, might take a little bit more
Right,
work.
well, that's what I'm saying, but the master court is, the area that originally was looked at was the master court, but again, when it was all said and done, the square footage just doesn't work, and the configuration itself of that space does not work.
Right, that's why when we were looking at it, we talked about the 3rd floor.
Right.
Where the DA's office used to be.
Right, up on the administrative offices that he used to occupy.
Right. Is that still a doable thing?
Yes, I mean, it is doable. There is a cost associated with it. I know that Mr. Sunday has been doing some, running some numbers. I don't believe that he's completed that assessment, but I know that he's kept me abreast as far as what would have to occur for that to be made occupiable or to be converted.
Have the judges involved in it being part of the process?
Yes, I was going to make a statement that we visited, both Mr. Guerra and I visited with Judge Cantu. He's not in favor of being moved. I visited with Judge Israel Ramon, and he wants to move to the courthouse. He would prefer to be moved to the courthouse wherever there's a space. And that's what we were looking at, the 2nd floor where all the district courts are. But we have a need for space. We've got to take action, either that or keep on paying a lease. Well, the right thing to do, I think, is to put the 430th District Court on the same floor as all the other district courts. and then we'll work on finding up space for the county court at law bench that Judge Cantu has, either there on at one of the old master courts or to the third floor where the district attorney's office used to be, and just create a courtroom there.
How long would it take to create it?
Oh, that would take some time. We'd have to get an engineer to look at the area. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Sunny can correct me if I'm wrong from the chair, but I believe there's some columns, structural columns, there in that area on the third floor.
Can you step forward, Mr. Sunday?
So it probably won't be till the middle of the year next year or so?
I hope not.
Yeah,
Well,
we got 2 months to go this year.
Rick Sunday, Infrastructure Division. Judge, Commissioners, we had not identified any area on the third floor. It's not that it's not viable. It could be studied, most likely because that consists of courtrooms and was originally courtrooms. There would be structural columns in place that would come into play. The area that we had identified was on the second floor, but there was not a viable means of working it out because of the size that we would have to fit the district court into.
And that area is where the master courts are at this point. Where is Judge Albert Garcia's courtroom?
Directly next door to Master Court 2 where Judge Leos is.
And how can we, I mean, Judge Albert Garcia is has the same issues. He's got a county court at law. And you're saying that we cannot locate a similar courtroom next door?
The space that Judge Leos was in, and she's moving to the modulars, there's not a jury room available, and it would be by far and away the smallest district court in the courthouse by about 30% less than the other district courts.
County court at law, yes.
The county court at law, Judge Albert Garcia's space is mirror image of Master Court 2 space.
A mirror image of what space?
So it has a jury room.
Master Court 2. That one has a jury room. The jury room adjacent to Master Court 2 is occupied by...
Can you work on identifying a space for the county court at law occupied by Judge Arnoldo Cantu? Either on that second floor next, in that area that you're now talking about, or the third floor. We need to find a space within the courthouse. I don't think we need to go out there and spend any money on any leases.
Yes, sir, that's quite an easy move, spatial-wise, for Judge Cantu to move into the area vacated by Judge Leos in Master Court 2. That would work.
All right, well.
So how soon can you come, how soon can you assess it?
We've already assessed it.
So you're saying it's possible?
Of all the chess moves that we could possibly make to accommodate the 430th, that would be the easiest one. It would be almost no cost.
Probably the cheapest one also.
Essentially, no cost. And we've looked at every possibility at every facility.
Yep, a year.
Yeah.
All right, then start looking at it, get some plans in place and present them to us so that we can approve the plans and you can begin construction.
With the timetable, obviously.
There would be almost nothing to do. All that Judge Cantu would have to do would be to agree to move in to that court space vacated by Master Court 2. Judge Leos is moving into the modulars.
Well, but there is a need for you to do something. It doesn't have a jury room.
The jury room is being used by Judge Letty Lopez's court as storage and lounge area.
They can be moved.
Well, we need to visit with Judge Lopez. Or can you design a alternative room out there?
The lawyer's lounge is seldom used, and that could be used for a jury room for whomever occupies.
That would go well with lawyers.
And because we've been looking at every possibility under the sun, and that's one of them. Or what would be easiest, it would appear, just based on space, is if the jury room that is attached to Master Court number 2 right now could be returned to that courtroom and not used by, I believe it's the 389th, that would be the easiest space solution. And if Judge Arnaldo Cantu would agree to move into that courtroom, then it would
And that
work.
would make it the mirror image of what Judge Albert Garcia has.
Yes, sir. And that is the lowest cost to the county. Every other alternative that Mr. Garrett and I went through it's hundreds of thousands of dollars to do something else, and a year to 2 years of time.
Valde, I think you need to go sit down with Judge Lopez and talk to her about what we're discussing here.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sunday. So as the members of the court in agreement that we need to relocate the 430th to the courthouse, the second floor, the old 206 District Court. All right, we probably do need some action. I will need a motion to that effect.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. All right, item J. We're accepting a settlement check
Yes, sir.
from Prano Insurance Agency.
Yes, sir. It's in the amount of $1,205.67, and this is actually to settle an auto accident with one of our county vehicles.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 7 are district courts.
Judge, I don't believe anyone's here from Judge Noe Gonzalez's office, but I'll go ahead and read the caption. Authorization for the county judge to sign the certification of eligibility letter for the Office of Violence Against Women, Domestic Violence Prevention Demonstration Initiative. Judge Commissioners, we've actually received a letter from a version of the letter that's gone through the DA's office. District Attorney Rene Guerra and his staff have reviewed a version of the letter and have given it approval. We're sending it over to Judge Noe Gonzalez for his approval. So I would ask the court to approve it contingent on Judge Noe Gonzalez's approval of the letter. It's a letter basically attesting to the fact that the county has policies that are in line with protecting women against violence. I do have a version of it, but it's not the final version.
What about the version that was actually presented to me last week?
The office of, the DA's office has reviewed that and made a few minor changes to that, and we have sent that over to Noe Gonzalez's office as of this morning for his final approval.
So what do
But
you need
legal has
action
reviewed it.
to approve this?
Yeah, we need action to approve, because the problem here is time. There's a
Yes, sir.
deadline.
Yes, there's a deadline, and that's why we put it on pending approval of the DA's office, and District Attorney Rene Guerra is here and has stated that it's okay with him as long as the district judge is okay with it.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Commissioner.
Make sure you present it to the judge this morning, because there was a concern about deadlines.
Yes, it was faxed to our office this morning, and we've taken it over to Judge Noe Gonzalez for his final approval.
All right.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. The next item is consideration and action on agreement between Hidalgo County and Endemol UK Limited for filming at the new Hidalgo County Morgue facility, with approval for a county judge to sign.
Move for approval. Second.
Valde, is there a liability insurance coverage in place for this endeavor?
The liability insurance was provided, Mr. Fracio, it was sent to your office, and it was provided to the budget office as well.
Already in place? All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
What is the purpose of this?
Judge, there's a doctor from the UK that is filming a story on morbid obesity and contacted Dr. Farley, our vendor that provides the services for autopsy services, thank you, and contacted her about filming. Mr. Guerra gave her approval to film. The issue was that they wanted to film at the new facility. We advised them the new facility wasn't complete, but I think they still went forward. They want to film a doorway. That's essentially what they're going to be filming at the county property, and that's the extent of...
And have we complied with the individual's rights? The patient was no longer a patient by that point.
They're not filming individuals. They're not filming
What are they filming?
About
They're not
individual
filming the
cases.
actual process?
No, the only thing that's being filmed at the facility is the doorway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Move for approval.
Need a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Mr. Garrett, did you desire to say something?
Yeah, John, that grant came to my office 2 weeks ago. And I'm not for it, and I'm going to check it out because I'm not sure on these grants what we're accomplishing with the grants and why we're requesting money from the federal government that later on may turn out to be another truancy fiasco. Okay?
Which is that one?
The one we just voted on, Joe.
Yeah, that's okay.
7A.
I can still stop at the DOJ if I believe that it should be stopped by sending them a letter.
All right, sir. Item 9, our county clerk's office. Good morning, Mr. Guajardo.
Good morning, Judge. Morning, Judge, Commissioners. I'm here for item 9, which is discussion, consideration, and action to be removed from the classification compensation pay plan. And it's my department, a district clerk's office as well, district attorney, and the tax office. Again, we've been through this discussion before. We were back here in January of this year with this request, and I realized that it's a tough position for the county to be. We're not sure of what direction we're going to go in, whether the whole county is going to be on the plan or not. So with all due respect, we're requesting for us to be removed until a final decision is decided by the county.
Everybody in or not later on?
Yeah. You need action to be removed?
Yes.
Move for approval?
Well, hang on.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Where's the committee stand on the recommendation that we're going to make to the court regarding all the departments that were being looked at?
I'm sorry,
That
Commissioner.
was your committee was going to come in with a recommendation. Is this a recommendation?
We're still prepared to present what the committee came up with. We can still consider that at any time. If you recall, about 4 weeks ago, we said we'd have the presentation within 2 weeks, and then it didn't happen, and then 3 weeks, and it didn't happen. Now we're 4th week. So we can still have that committee down the line. I'm just saying that for now.
Just to temporarily take them out, and then we'll get everything together and put them all at one time.
Either we put them all, at that time we'll discuss it and put them all in, or none of them in, I guess.
That's our position, right?
They're
Right.
not in right now. So what if
I think the committee already made a recommendation, and the court took no action on that. Right, Chairman?
Well, we were waiting for a workshop, and we never got to do that workshop.
Right. And that workshop can still be scheduled down the road. Sergio's telling me that it's scheduled for today, but
We did put a workshop items today, Judge, Commissioners, at 11 o'clock. I don't know if the court wants to hear.
Can you talk into that mic?
Our office did place a workshop item for today at 11 o'clock for the recommendations on the classification plan. If the court wishes to go through with it today, we can do that, or whatever the wish of the court is.
All right, sir.
pick it up after the...
Ms. Thompson wants to...
I'm sorry, Ms. Townsend, did you want to say something?
No, I'm going to speak totally as a layperson, a person who pays taxes, and trying to see what makes sense. And fairness, to me, is very, very important. And if you speak to and they're not going to talk to you guys because you're the bosses, but they speak to us. And when it is not fair, straight across the board, you have all kinds of morale problems. And this is, to have you all at an impasse that you can't listen to a committee who comes here and says this should be the solution, but because of, I don't know what, I don't know if it's pride, I don't know if it's stubbornness, I really don't know.
Ms. Townsend, I don't know if you're
what it is.
aware, but we're set at 11 o'clock this morning to conduct a workshop on this issue.
I know, but
Had nothing to do with
Judge,
pride or anything.
there's been so many workshops, and there's been so many suggestions,
No,
but it
we-
goes
we really-
nowhere.
We really haven't had the workshop. We've scheduled it, but we haven't had it.
You mean, but they have had a lot of workshops. These
Well, but-
people have been working on it.
We need to have it presented to us, and that's what we're going to be doing at 11 o'clock.
I'm begging for you all to come to a solution that's fair, please. Thanks.
Mine's going to be a simple question. So removing these departments off of it would include that everybody's off of it? Is that everybody all together?
Except the sheriff's department.
No, sir, it's not everybody. We've got about 2/3 of the county on it right now, and about 1/3 off of it, of the entire workforce. This would put it maybe at about 50-50 now.
Which departments are still in it
So-
after this?
The-
Which
the
department will still be in it?
I've got them right here.
The non-elected
Yeah.
departments, I believe.
The sheriff's department, I think, is in it.
The sheriff has their own.
Yeah.
While you're looking at that, before you do that, my position, I was in favor of the compensation plan, still am. I understand the whole thing about fairness. Here, we're going to remove more departments, elected departments, and then we're going to leave all non-elected departments on it. My plea to the court is that we as quickly as we can, discuss it, dissect it, come to an agreement, and apply something so that we're not working backwards. The fear is that we're going to assume business as usual in the past where things go through the agenda, get voted on, and they completely aren't in respect to the compensation plan. So that's my fear, but my plea to the court is that we quickly work through this so that we can have a standard.
Fantastic, Commissioner. If you'll recall, the last time I was here, I presented to the court and I said, when this compensation plan was adopted by this court, or by prior membership, but the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court, it was implemented in phases. And phase 1 was implemented in February of 2010. That included most of the departments without elected officials. Then phase 2 was implemented August 2 of 2010. That's where the DA's office, district clerk, tax collector, treasurer, auditor, my office, the sheriffs, and the constables were included. And then phase 3 was supposed to have taken place September of 2010. That's 2 years ago. So our frustration is, look, we never got there. Can you take us off until, the rest of the county is brought on board or not, one way or the other. And phase 3 is to include all the district courts, the county courts at law, the justice of the peace, and the 4 county commissioners, and the county judge's office.
You guys want to wait until we have the workshop?
It's not making any difference.
Not really, but.
I believe that if you're going to take all these out, take everybody out.
Well, that would be a position that the court makes.
then
I can't
come
put
back
all
with
the
the whole
departments
thing
on the
and put them all at
agenda.
the same time.
Yeah, and the safety gate is still Commissioner's Court. They're still going to have to come to Commissioner's Court to prove
Right.
anything.
What I
So-
would envision is if you all would approve us, that probably the week or two after following, the rest of the county departments would probably come on board if Valde would put them on. I don't know who would put them on the Commissioner's Court agenda. But our position is simple, Commissioners, is the fact that we've got half on, half off.
Wait till
Right.
after the meeting for next week.
After the workshop, but then, well, why don't we do that then? Valde, put an item on the agenda where all of the departments are included, except for the sheriff's office, but all of the other departments that are not here. I mean, we're going to treat everybody alike.
It would be a blanket, Judge, it would just be a blanket action item with respect to the compensation.
Well, whatever the language may be, run it by Steve,
Yes.
so that we can take an action that will affect all of the employees in the same manner.
Right. Yes, sir.
That's fine, but for now, I think we could act on ours as well, right? We've got a motion already.
Well, we have a motion, we don't have a second yet. Did the court desire to wait and do everybody at the same time?
And let's wait. I'll
Okay.
withdraw my motion.
All right. Thank you, sir. We're going to wait and take it up hopefully by next week. Okay, our tax office. Mr. Varela, do you want to present it?
I was waiting to be called on. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Here before you to respectfully request for the following positions of Deputy Clerk 2. These two positions are for the project that we just took on. We need the help in order for us to, for the scofflaw. And they're going to be helping us compile all the information from all the people that go to our motor vehicle tax offices so we can compile and see how we're doing as far as the who's paying and who's still outstanding.
Okay, these are the two positions in McAllen?
Yeah, these are the two positions that we're going to have at our central office here in Edinburgh. And these two people are going to be helping us, with the compiling of all the scofflaw.
What is the amount of pay on these?
I believe it starts at $29,458.
Okay.
Move for approval on 10A, 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
By the way, good job on the collections.
Thank you so much.
Paul,
Yes, sir.
when we have a chance, give me a call so we can look at the building in McAllen.
We did discuss it with Mr. Guerra, and we have not made it out there, but definitely we're still pending to go out there and see if it's feasible for us to, if it's compatible to, the RTS workstations, our tax office computer equipment, and see if it's possible for us to work there. So
I'm sure that can be worked out with Mr. Sunday.
and I did talk to, I think, Mr. Lozano.
Give me a call on that.
Okay, thank you.
Is our elections office representative here?
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. All right, at this time, we're going to recess the regular meeting and convene our meeting as a canvassing board to conduct the official canvass of the November 6, 2012 election.
The canvassing is actually tomorrow.
Ma'am?
The canvassing is actually tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Then why was I
Tomorrow at 9
provided with
a.m.
this?
I did.
Okay, then.
Yes, it's tomorrow at 9 a.m. Today, ballot board meets. We sort of wrap everything up. I had some numbers to give you all, if you all want to hear that.
No,
The
we'll wait until your item comes up.
Okay,
I
all
was
right.
provided with a,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's for
with an
tomorrow.
agenda for another meeting.
Just, but this is for tomorrow, this meeting.
Okay. Do you need a quorum for that? 2 people, okay. Item 11, our health department. Go back to our regular meeting.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Under item 11A, sir, there is no discussion on that item, sir. We'll move on to 11B, discussion and approval of 1115 waiver document and 1115 waiver plan. We brought to court a couple of weeks ago the plan that was passed out on the USBs. What we did is there's a couple of corrections of spelling and verbiage, but the plan has pretty much been completed to send to the state, but we got to send a hard copy to them now. So, Judge, Monica has a document that you need to sign that would go forward with the plan, but that's pretty much a plan that we're going to go forward. I'm not sure if you need to take any action on it, but I'm just giving you an update that we just updated some minor grammatical corrections on it, and then are sending that forward to the state to get reviewed and assessed by the state, and then the state will review it and call us back and say if there's changes that need to be made or anything else that needs to be done.
All right.
So,
Mr. Olivares, so you corrected the plan that was approved last week by court?
yes, sir.
Okay.
That's the one. The only thing, remember I had mentioned, Mr. Palacio, that there were maybe some spell checks, some verbiage stuff. That's what was changed and amended and updated. But the plan is pretty much in place. Of course, the plan is pending the state approval.
Right.
I mean, that's not yet to be determined, not until the end of the year. And the state would
Have we
determine.
already approved this plan?
Yes, we brought
All
this a
right.
couple of weeks ago.
Let's move on to the other one.
Mr. Olivares, so whenever the judge signs, can you provide a copy to
Yes.
the court coordinator and the county clerk?
Not a problem, sir. Not a problem. We'll be happy to do that. Is electronic okay? Is electronic okay for you?
Well, I think the plan is to be given to the county clerk for the records, you know, 'cause this is.
No, that'll be happen. Yeah, we'll take care of that. Yeah, for the county clerk, yes.
Yeah.
But for the recorder and yourself, it's digital, okay?
Yeah, I think even with the county clerk, digital copies are okay.
Okay, very good. Not a problem. Thank you, Mr. Facio. So the next item, sir, this is a very proud moment, sir. No, this is next, correction, sorry. Item C, we have requesting authorization to submit discretionary fund requests to the Texas Department of Health Services in the amount of not to exceed $175,000. The funding will support Hidalgo County Public Health Emergency Division, enroll in performing activities and advancing public health and healthcare preparedness. This is some discretionary money we have available, sir. There's a $10,000 matching component. It comes out to $17,500, 10%, and just requesting approval of this. I've gone through the budget office and reviewed everything with them. They're in alignment with it as well.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
These next item D, so this is a real tremendous honor for us. We've actually been selected to demonstrate best practices at the national level, requesting authorization to submit to FEMA, Hidalgo County's lessons learned, information sharing documents will be shared in lessons learned information sharing LLIS governmental website, which allow other practitioners of exercises to view Hidalgo County's Public Health Emergency Preparedness Division's achievements. We've been asked to submit these because of our Operation Lone Star and the success of Operation Lone Star. A lot of thanks needs to be given to our Director of Operations, Rigo Hinojosa, our Coordinator for Preparedness, Eva Rubio, and our Assistant Coordinator, Nancy Trevino, who've prepared all these documents to be used as a best practice to be demonstrated across the nation. So with your permission, sir, we gave you copies of the best practices. You have them there, and that's just getting your approval to pass it forward.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
The next
motion
item,
carries.
we have approval of the proclamation, and I'm going to have Ms. Salazar read the proclamation real quickly.
Diabetes.
Good morning. Brenda Salazar, Hidalgo County Health. Again, I'm here to talk about diabetes. Tomorrow, November the 14th, is World Diabetes Day, and in accordance with World Diabetes Day, we're asking for approval of the proclamation to proclaim tomorrow, November 14th, as Hidalgo County Diabetes Day. Whereas November 14th of every year is World Diabetes Day, and whereas the diabetes prevalence rate in Hidalgo County is 1 in every 3 people, and whereas having diabetes increases a person's risk of nerve damage, amputation, heart disease, stroke, blindness, and kidney failure if uncontrolled, whereas Hidalgo County's rates are double the statewide average of hospital admissions for long-term diabetes complications, and whereas the financial and physical burdens of living with diabetes and its related complications are extremely overwhelming to the diabetic and their families, and whereas type 2 diabetes with proper nutrition, exercise, and lifestyle choices is a preventable disease, and whereas knowledge and understanding of treatment methods is essential to combating the prevalence of this debilitating disease, it is important that we foster an environment of diabetes awareness, education, prevention, and detection in our daily lifestyles. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court does hereby proclaim November 14th, 2012 as Hidalgo County Diabetes Day and encourages all residents and employees to incorporate diabetes awareness, prevention, and detection practices into daily family activities.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. And in accordance with Hidalgo County Diabetes Day, tomorrow we are hosting our 3rd annual Hidalgo County Employee Diabetes Day at the Health Department Central Office. We will be partnering with Sam's Club and offering free screenings for glucose, blood pressure, BMI, as well as vaccines for flu and Tdap. So we encourage all departments to allow their employees to go in shifts. Will be open from 8 to 12. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item G.
Item G, sir, is requesting approval to reimburse myself, Eduardo Olivares, Hidalgo County Health and Human Services Chief Administrative Officer, for fuel costs related to invoice shown as follows, for $85 fuel costs, sir.
Judge,
Those in,
Judge,
yes,
I have a concern regarding this item. These fuel costs were incurred while transferring a piece of equipment to Webb County. And I have a couple of questions and concerns. I'm not sure if court approved the loaning of this piece of equipment to Webb County, number one, and you will need an interlocal agreement in place in order to do such thing, and also the costs associated with that. I don't know if the county is responsible for these costs.
Judge, I'd be happy to answer that, or you'd like to? First, Judge, a couple of things. This was a formal request by the Department of Emergency Management of the state of Texas requesting our morgue trailer in Laredo. We responded to help assist with a terrible situation they had involving overcapacity of their morgue. Our portable morgue trailer went over there. We have a formal request from the Office of Emergency Manager from the state, which was provided to Mr. Eufrasio. We have a formal request from our emergency manager, Oscar Montoya. And not only that, sir, but under the county's agreement with the Rio Grande Valley Development Council on our Mutual Aid Act, which Mr. Eufrasio is aware of, that we have, this emergency situation falls in that constraint. If the court does not feel that this is necessary, I'll be happy to make a donation to the county.
Eddie, you don't have to be sarcastic, Eddie. We're gonna, it sounds
He's
like a very legitimate act that you performed on behalf of the county. But, you know, the auditor, I guess, is trying to do his job, questioning every invoice that he feels needs to be looked at closer. But I find that everything is in order and proper, and I would entertain a motion to approve.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item, sir.
Item H, approval of the following positions and actions is outlined here. Delete slot number 0029, eligibility specialist grade 4. Delete slot number 0043, eligibility specialist grade 4. And create slot 0048, clerk 2, grade 3. Create slot 0049, clerk grade 3. This has all been reviewed by by Esther, Ms. Cortez at HR. It's been reviewed by Mr. Guerra at the Executive Office and approved by budgeting as well.
Move approval of 11H 1 and 2.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, Judge. Have a good day.
Motion carried. Thank you, Eddie. Item 12, facilities management.
Judge, Commissioners, Rick Sunday, Infrastructure Division. I believe this is for the temporary chain link fence around the construction site at the modular construction project.
Move for
Item
approval.
12.
Second.
Well, that doesn't sound like very much for all that fencing. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Item 13.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners.
Morning.
Requesting approval on item 13A. It is a claim invoice for OCE. This is our printer plotter that we use for the GIS program. There's a delay on the paperwork, so we had to process it as a claim.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Approval on 13B. Same issue, this security piece of equipment that we use for the county's network as well.
Move for approval.
Mr. Sunday, excuse me,
Yes,
Renan,
sir.
hold on. Mr. Sunday, can you come forward, please?
Yes, sir, Judge.
Go ahead, Judge.
What's that $350 for? I mean, that's not enough for a fence. Is that for a couple of pipes or what?
It was for temporary fencing somewhere on
Temporary
that
fencing
project.
That is going to be removed?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks. Motion second.
Yeah, we already did it.
No,
Yeah.
but then that's it.
On 13B.
Yeah.
Oh, well, those in favor of 13A indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Judge,
motion carries.
It was 13B.
Oh, sorry. Those in favor of 13B indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
13C, I'm sorry, 13C, authorization approval for, I'm going to read this out, purchase of pool telemetry connect plans for precinct 4 at 120. What this is these are the plans for the GPS units to be installed on the vehicles at the precinct 4 office. This is the data plan to provide service.
120 GPS with AT&T, I've got those, yeah. Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Have a good morning.
Thank you, sir. Item 14, Urban County.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Our first item on the agenda is one that we presented a couple of weeks ago, but there were some questions on. This is on behalf of the City of Ed Couch, in which they are requesting the authorization to cancel an existing contract with Guzman y Munoz Engineering and Surveying in the amount of $12,519, which was issued for the 2011 sidewalk improvement project. The city was unable to obtain the easements for the construction of the sidewalks, therefore decided to cancel the project. The program has received reimbursement for the expenses that we incurred for the engineering services, and we're recommending approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Item 2 is on behalf of Precinct 1, requesting the approval of an amendment number 1 to the existing contract agreement for professional services with Tetsi Infrastructure. The amendment will modify the plans and specifications to enable the precinct to construct the project with in-house forces and equipment. The fee increased by $6,000, and this is for the project identified as Sign Street Improvements.
If there's no questions, need a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Our final item is on behalf of Precinct 2. This is requesting the consideration and action to award and enter into a construction contract with Dos Logistics, the lowest bidder meeting all specifications and/or requirements for the Texas General Land Office, Round 1, GLO contract number 10-5066-000-5043 in the amount of $332,037.95. Subject to approval, subject to submittal of payment and performance bonds and other contract requirements, including their auto insurance. This project is flood and drainage improvements within Precinct 2, bounded on the west by Raul Longoria Road and on the east by Cesar Chavez Road, bounded on the north by Owasa Road and the south by Nolana Loop.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The auditor had a concern regarding the funding availability, but I'd like to make sure that the record indicates that we have $370,789.85 for this contract, which is more than enough. Thank you.
Funding is in place?
I'm sorry?
Funding is in place?
Yes, sir. We have it from the GLO office.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item 15, elections.
Oh, Judge, Commissioners. Just a reminder on 15A, discussion and or action, including but not limited to elections updates. We have scheduled the canvassing of the election for tomorrow at 9 a.m. We need 2 persons available. I just wanted to make sure that we do have a quorum.
I'll be available, Judge.
All right. I'll be here.
Okay. And I think that's it. The numbers, again,
And you only need 2, you said, right?
We only need 2 for canvassing, yes.
Everybody's welcome, but you only need 2.
Right, of course. And we will provide copies of the summary report, and we'll give you CDs with precinct by precinct reports, because those can get a little lengthy. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Our planning department.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Raul Cecina, Planning Administrator. First item on the agenda, Salida del Sol Estates Phase 6 subdivision. Judge, if I may, if the court will allow, can we take item 1B first, Vista Ridge Acres Phase 4 subdivision? This was a subdivision that was discussed 2 weeks ago.
Right.
The issue about partly being in the flood zone. And actually, Salida del Sol Estates Phase 6, well, it also has a similar situation. I think it would probably be best if we address B first, discuss it, and then get some background on that one and get some direction on that one.
Then let's go into item AB then, 1AB.
Thank you. It's preliminary approval of variance request Vista Ridge Acres Phase 4 subdivision. As I mentioned, Judge and Commissioners, this development was presented 2 weeks ago to the court, and there's some lengthy discussion about the flood zone and how it affects the development. And as I stated, only a few of the lots are located partly in the flood zone. The majority of the lot, about 300 feet of the lot, is outside the flood zone. The southern portion of the lots that are partly in the flood zone will not be constructed on. We have that restriction being placed on the plat, on the deed, and then an actual exhibit that's being presented to the buyers. I do have the plat engineer here, and I'd like for him to make his presentation, afford him the opportunity to explain to the court what they're proposing to do.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir. Okay.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Alfonso Quintanilla, I'm the project engineer. I'm representing Mr. Jack McClellan from Edinburgh, who's the developer on this proposed subdivision. As stated on the county subdivision regulations, any property that is within flood zone hazard areas must be dealt with and go through FEMA to get the approval of that. This particular subdivision, as you may see on the exhibit, and I have a large exhibit here in front of me, all of these lots are over 1 acre in size. And the southern portion, which is the hatch area, is the area that Mr. Cecin was saying that is within the flood zone A. Actually, the elevation on the property is not much different than the one that is in zone X, which is not flood zone. At any rate, because of the size of the lot and on the attached exhibit that I gave you, you will see there, all those lots that are there, the area that is within flood zone X, which is not flood zone, exceed the half acre in size, which in all practicality complies with the size or the minimum lot size for the use of septic tanks. In addition to that, we are proposing to install about 1/4 mile of drainage into the drain ditch that is adjacent to the east to take care of the drainage created by the development. So we have positive outfall drainage on this subdivision. We have, as a safeguard, besides the plat notes, as a safeguard on the sample deed that I gave you, if you turn to page 2 of the deed, I highlighted the area that were kind of just creating as a safeguard. When the developer conveys these lots, he is going to attach this exhibit on which we state on the deed, and it's also attested by the plat notes that the only buildable area is within zone X, and that no building of any sort will be allowed or permitted in the flood zone A. And I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Raul, is this what you're suggesting we use and rely on? We talked
yes.
last time about some kind of a form that could be presented to the buyer that clearly he needed to sign, that way that he understood that he could not build in that area.
Definitely we can do that, Judge. The intent of the site plan, we've seen these in the past when there's limited
construction areas that they're not only housed in my office, these site plans, obviously for information purposes, but the developer himself provides this information to the applicant, and I'm sure that the developer can, through my office, I guess with my office assistant, can help develop some type of quick form that they can also hand out to the applicants. I don't see why.
Actually, these lots are 80 by 600 and some deep.
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right.
They're very deep, yes, sir. And there's only 5 lots that are affected. It's not the entire
Actually,
subdivision.
the front where the roadside will not be affected because the flood
No,
zone
sir.
behind.
Right, that's correct.
Exactly. It would be like the backyard of the lot.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think the concern was that sometimes families want to
build in front.
Build behind for their sons and other members of the family.
And we have that, Judge, and that's my job, the floodplain administrator and the health department, all 3 together to make sure that.
We're also going to have an 18-inch storm pipe.
Yes, not allow that, and then deal with it if it does happen, sir, obviously.
Commissioner Flores.
Yes, Commissioner Flores.
We're installing Taipei inlets on the street because it's a curb on Gutter Street, and the storm pipe about a quarter of a mile to the ditch.
You need action for that?
Yes, sir, we do.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Do work on a statement that they can sign, that they acknowledge it, knowing that they cannot build in the back.
We'll have that, sir. He put it in Spanish here, but I understand now, Judge, what you're looking for. In addition to the exhibit, some type of statement that the applicant can sign, or the seller, I guess, can sign through the developer, and we can have that also submitted to our office as well.
Even that Exhibit A, just that it's been explained to him and he understands.
Exactly. It's something like that in writing that has been given to him just as a precautionary issue. Yes, of course, Judge, we can follow up on that. The next item, Judge, is Salida del Sol Estates Phase 6 subdivision. And this subdivision is located in Precinct 3, Commissioner Flores, your precinct, over in the northwest portion. It is a 20 single-family lot subdivision, and it has gone through separate county departments, has been reviewed by separate county departments. The subdivision has a similar layout as this subdivision. The lots are about 1.67 acres each lot, or 1.56, acres each lot, and they're about 850 feet in depth. And out of those 20 lots, about 10 lots are affected by the flood zone in the rear only. The rest of the front area, they have approximately about 420 feet to build on the front side facing the road. It's just a similar scenario as the one we've seen now. They are putting in some culverts there to discharge into adjacent drain ditch that was constructed. And they're asking for preliminary approval with the variance of non-submittal to FEMA at this time, since they have adequate construction area. They have about 3/4 of an acre on those lots that are affected. As I mentioned, out of the 20, only about 8, I believe, are really affected by the flood zone in the rear, and 420 feet are still available for construction of the septic tanks, the homes, and so forth, and no construction would be allowed in that rear area as well.
Yeah. So you still have about 430 feet to build on.
Yes, that is correct. That is correct, Commissioner.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. You're going to do the same thing with this.
Exactly, sir. We provided the exhibits for that one as well, Judge, but we'll go ahead and also get with the engineer through his developer and make sure that they confirm that they've given this exhibit to the prospective buyers.
All right.
And we'll have a copy in our office as well.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. Item 2.
Item 2, Judge, is preliminary approval of La Frontera Estates Phase 4 subdivision. Subdivision located in Precinct 1. It's a 56-lot single-family subdivision. It is located in the ETJ of Donna. It has been approved by the city. It's all gone through the various county departments as well, has been reviewed by them for preliminary approval, and it has gone to the Subdivision Advisory Board, and it's in order for preliminary approval. There is drainage being provided a quarter mile off-site for this development by the developer, providing a discharge to the nearest storm sewer drain ditch, which we are looking at a county policy at this time to expand that limitations, but they are running quarter-mile right now, storm sewer, off-site. Everything's in order for preliminary at this time.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Next item, preliminary approval of Roto Valley Phase 2 subdivision. This is located also in Precinct 1. It's a 118-lot single-family subdivision. It's in the rural area of the county, so there is no city approval. It has been presented to various county departments, and it's received approval for preliminaries. It's also been approved by the Subdivision Advisory Board. This development also will be working with the irrigation district and the drainage district. There's an adjacent ditch that will be dedicated to the drainage district to be widened and improved.
How many lots is that one?
This is 118. There's a master plan, Commissioner, that we required of this developer because he's going to be developing about 80 acres. So this is, he's going to bring it in phases. The positive thing on this development is that there is an adjacent drain ditch, and he's actually going to dedicate the 150, widen the drain ditch to what's the requirement we have in place to make sure that that the drainage district takes over and maintains it. So the drainage district has already, my understanding, met with the irrigation district, and the irrigation district has already agreed to convey that drain ditch, or at least the maintenance of it and the improvements of it, to the drainage district. The developer will be required to improve the drain ditch, widen it, and so forth.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Next item will be final approval, Quintana Auto Parts subdivision, Precinct 1. This is just a one-lot, single-family subdivision and one-lot commercial subdivision located in ETJ Mercedes, and it has been approved by the city of Mercedes. It has been presented to the Subdivision Advisory Board, and they have signed off on it. The various county departments has also reviewed it and have signed off for final approval. And everything's in order for the final approval of Quintana Auto Parts subdivision.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
RBA Mission Doffing subdivision is a one-lot commercial subdivision located in the City of Mission ETJ, and it has been approved by the city, signed off by them as well for final. All our various county departments have also signed off for final as well, and it is in, the advisory board also has recommended final approval. Just for the record, Judge, I know that we've been talking about a form. We have been working with your office, with Jaime on the development of that form for the final routing of the development, where all the departments have signed off for preliminary and final and so forth. We're hoping to have a meeting this week, sir, and once we have that meeting, we'll present that to the court, the form that we're going to be using. That way it consolidates everything and brings everyone on one sheet that it's been reviewed and approved preliminary and final by the various county departments.
Motion approved.
But everything's in order for that second RBA.
Yes, Commissioner. A second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I've been well, go ahead, Raul. We'll take yours up and then we'll.
Item 17.
Yes, sir, you're there.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Raul Salguero, Precinct 2. For Commissioner Palacios, item 17A, Precinct 2 Road Maintenance. The approval to create the following full-time position. Judge, Commissioners, this is an engineering tech who will be supervised by Raul Cecin to do who does in-house engineering work for the precinct. This is a creation of road maintenance position 0089, engineering technician 4, budgeted salary $40,078, and number 2 is approval of the revised salary schedule.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right. Is there a particular kind of training that one would need for this?
Yes, sir. These people are certified for certain engineering certificates. I'm not sure Mr. Cecin can explain, but yes, there is.
Okay. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 17B, Precinct 2, TxDOT. This is approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for revenues received from TxDOT for reimbursement for parcel number 24, South McCall Road Project.
Move for approval.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 2 is approval of the 2012 appropriation of funds into Precinct 2, South McCall, in the amount of $303,638.27. Judge, Commissioners, we buy right-of-way, get reimbursed, and we buy more right-of-way. It's about $1 million worth of right-of-way, so we're just turning over the reimbursements and paying for additional right-of-way.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
C, 17C is requesting approval of supplemental agreement number 4 under the current agreement with Argo Tierras Engineering for the Nolana Loop project to reflect revisions on Exhibit C, Article 3.1, Exhibit D, and Exhibit D1, and Article 5.
For approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. I've been requested to convene to recess this meeting and convene the workshop for the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court on this Classification and Compensation Pay Plan Committee. You guys want to take that up?
Can we, Judge?
Sure.
Let's get out of the way.
Vern, hold on.
Judge, Commissioners,
No. He hadn't looked at it.
I didn't.
It won't take 5 minutes.
Okay. We're gonna hold back on the workshop.
Judge,
we're gonna take up Commissioner Palacios' request on item 18A.
Judge, Commissioners, 18A is discussion and appropriate action regarding the open forum agenda item and related policies and procedures as applicable. Judge, Commissioners, for quite some months now, we've received emails, we've received letters of concern on request of moving the open forum up front. I've expressed interest to most of the court members that I'd like a reconsideration of the court to place open forum in front. And I leave this matter for open discussion with other court members and the judge as well.
Can you move for approval?
No, the gentleman want to be heard too. Okay, Mr. Barnes?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Judge and Commissioners, for an opportunity to speak on an issue that is very dear to the Owls. In a democratic republic, there's basically 4 boxes that we have to deal with. A soap box, a jury box, a ballot box, and an ammo box. Most important is the soap box, because that gives people an opportunity to speak their mind about issues and to state grievances to their government. Also, it's freedom of speech. And the open forum has been an opportunity for people to speak about issues that are before the court for a very, very long time. And when you move it to the end of the agenda, it kind of cramps some of the people that have issues that they want to talk about. If someone works, they have to take off work. And if it's in the first part of the session, they can state their case and go back to work. But if you got to sit here for 2 or 3 hours, they're missing work. There was a statement made by a couple of people on this court that no one cared about this or not. We have 52 confirmed emails that were sent to members of the court. We also have 95 signatures on petitions to move it back to the first part of the agenda. So I would feel that we have a good case for moving it back to the beginning, and that we strongly support you doing that.
Is your concern, see, the good thing about bringing you up at an agenda item is we can talk. We can respond.
Say again?
We can respond to anything that you may want to bring up.
Yes, you can.
Which we cannot under open forum.
We know that, and if we are going to discuss an item that's on the agenda and desire that kind of response, then we will talk about it at that time using the form that you have provided for us.
Well, your main concern is you want us to understand your issues and hear you before we vote.
Yes.
And that's what we've been allowing you to do. That, like right now, you're given an opportunity to state your position.
Yes, and the dialogue is important, but some people can't be here for that dialogue. They got to get back to work, or they just want to make the statement and not ask any questions and go on about their business.
Well, see, the problem is not when you're making statements, it's the negativity that you sometimes get involved, and that don't necessarily mean you. I'm talking about sometimes people come out here and just make blanket accusations and they sit down. And we don't get an opportunity to respond, and that is not right, and it isn't fair.
No, I agree with that, and if there's a negative problem, we probably need to address that.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's really the main issue in my mind.
Is that some people get up here and are very negative? There's rules of decorum, and we should probably enforce those.
Judge?
Yes.
If we vote in favor, can we ever come back and remove it again if they don't do what we think they should do?
Well, yes.
But I mean,
I don't have any problem in I visited with Ms. Townsend. She's a very reasonable individual. And
since I'll speak for myself, I don't like to speak for other people, but since my concern is I want to see this county doing good things, and if I think we're kind of off the track or we're not moving fast enough or something, I'd like to stand up and say something, probably just to get rid of my frustration, but nevertheless, but with the drainage bond issue, I was very much for the drainage bond issue, but I didn't like to have to pay more taxes, and I knew what was coming in the future was even going to be a lot more, but I voted for it because it was the right thing to do. And that's the way I feel about putting open forum back at the beginning. It's just the right thing to do. It's not a threat, it's not a bad thing, and I still like very much standing up and having a little dialogue with y'all, because I hope that I'm always asking for something that's a good thing. But I really say it's just the right thing to do. Put it at the beginning, because a lot of people watch it on Tuesday night and they don't want to stay up any later, but they want to see what we're having to say or what other people have to say. So that's just my opinion. I don't get hurt one way or another, guys. I really don't. I care enough, and I've been here long enough that I'm going to be here no matter what.
Ms. Townsend, and speaking with, and the whole reason of me putting it on the agenda, talking about the right thing to do, I firmly believe in that. The other thing that we can learn from all of this, because in the past there were issues where accusations were thrown out and they didn't bear any relevance. And so I would encourage a lot of research. I would encourage for the two most important things, and that's the thing that we try to lead each other with, is dignity and respect. Respect that we're not always going to agree with each other one way or another, but give us the opportunity to explain, and the respect to work with us through the process. That's how we can make the other difference that we're all looking for. We may not agree with everything, but at least we can respect each other enough to work through it. And that's really the hope of everything, the right thing to do, and obviously putting this up front.
I agree.
I
You're not
think
going to be Lucy today.
the court is leaning towards giving you another opportunity, your group.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Let's see what happens.
Thank you, Judge.
We have a motion. A second.
Do we have a second?
Yes.
All right. Those in favor of going back, or the motion is made and seconded, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously, and let's see what results from this action. All we really request is just respect for the court. Okay. Next item, we need to conduct a workshop. So we're going to be recessing our regular County Commissioners Court meeting and proceeding with a scheduled workshop on the issue of classification and compensation pay plan committee recommendations. Valde?
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners. I believe that there's a document that's been passed, which is the classification compensation plan, and that's been submitted by the Compensation Committee. Mr. Guajardo is in the audience. I know he is. Mr. Guajardo is our chair of the committee.
We got recommendations.
Yeah, I've got it here. I've got it here. Thank you. Morning again, Commissioners.
We've got the handouts.
As I stated to you last time, January of 2011, I came before the court to request for us to be removed from the compensation plan. At the time, the district attorney and the tax assessor were with me. At that point in time, the court said, why don't you instead reconsider, let's form a committee, you all meet and come back with your presentation as to what your recommendation is. At the time that we were here, Commissioners, the departments that had been brought into this compensation plan had a lot of issues. There was a lot of restrictions, that we weren't used to. We lost a lot of the flexibility in hiring practices, moving people, just various issues. And we isolated as a group, as a committee. We went and when we broke it down into subject matters, and they were the probationary steps, the hiring range, exceptions to the plan, demotions, reclassifications, regrades, merit pay funding, and what have you. What the group did was we took the existing plan and we kind of tossed ideas back and forth and gave the plan a little bit more flexibility and something that everybody was okay with, that we could work with. So that's where we're at. But really the bottom line is, does the court want to move forward with the compensation plan? If you do, then we can elaborate on all the details and intricacies of the whole plan, because there's still a lot of work to be done. But if we don't, then it's over.
What's it going to cost?
Go ahead.
I, for one, have been pushed into implementation of the step and grade across the board. I still feel the same way.
Okay.
In order to be fair with everybody, with all employees, all departments. So I don't know what else.
Are you sure it's not going to cost the county any money? Because that's what I've been hearing.
From the way we proposed our changes, there's no cost to the county.
So how is it going to be, he's trying to say across the board, what about the ones that are making 20 and 28?
Because time would heal,
Yeah, but it's going to take how long?
Well, it could take 20, 30 years for everybody to remain parity.
But he wants it to be level when we start.
It's the same way that phase 1 and 2 were implemented.
Yeah, the way phase 1 and 2 were implemented is the same way it would affect the way it is today.
What do my truck drivers make? Say, for example, 30,000, his truck drivers make 36,000.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Your truck driver will become part of an inventory list, of a position inventory list for the county.
But it would be fair for him if they're implemented.
That says truck drivers will start at $30,000. If you have one at 36 and he has one at 40, those are going to remain there until they leave. The next one's going to be at 30, and so will his. That's when it'll become
self-correcting.
Self-corrected.
Most of those guys make it a career. So it could take 20, 30 years.
So he'll be there for the rest of his life. It won't correct until he leaves.
But if we want to make it fair for everybody, then it would cost the county money.
Absolutely.
That's where I'm coming from.
But that's not what this plan is doing. The way it was adopted, phase 1 and phase 2 didn't do that. And I had nothing to do with that, Commissioners. We had nothing to do with that. This was where the court went. The court hired a professional team. Remember MGT and then the budget office.
So actually, if we implement this, about 80% of the people will not be affected at all until when they retire. Because most of them are young people that work for us.
It'll just be, the only ones that'll be affected, Commissioner, are the new employees.
The ones that retire and then when new ones come in.
Right.
How many of those are per year, more or less?
On my office, about maybe 10 a year.
But it's not going to cost any more money.
No, I understand.
Even if they stay here for the next 30 years.
I guess the way I see this is a structure that is to be implemented for the county. Like the federal government has a structure and state government has a structure. Now, does this county want one or not?
No, we do want one, but I mean, I think it's too big of an animal to.
It is a big animal, absolutely.
I mean, I've got a business and I know how it is to, because some of those guys that are going to be on the same grade, hey, parate, I'm just like you and I make $10,000 less. Why? Wouldn't they start like a lawsuit or something against the
Well, that
county?
is the case today, Commissioner. Today, you have a truck driver that makes different than his truck driver. That is what we have today.
But we don't, it's not implemented.
No, that's what we have today, whether you're on the system or not.
But what if you're in the system and say I'm a truck driver and I make 30,000 and I've been here 10 years and his driver makes 38,000, he's been there 4 years. I'm gonna have to wait another 10 years to catch up with him.
You probably will never catch up.
Never catch up.
Right.
It's vice versa.
It's vice versa, yeah.
In reality.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I think that the risk that we have now is not so much within the precincts. It's a precinct and a non-precinct. For example, a custodian in a non-precinct department makes less possibly than a custodian at a precinct. And to me, there's an issue of liability that the county has.
Well,
because they don't make some amount, they perform the same service.
Right.
But the pay is not equal.
But this plan, as it was adopted again by this court back in '09 and implemented in 2010, did not seek to put everybody at the same pay. It only sought to self-correct within time. That's how it was adopted by this court.
That's exactly how it works now, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so because it was adopted like that, we have phase 1 and phase 2. We never finished. Phase 3 stayed pending.
Now, if we would go in there and do it now, it would cost us probably $7 or $8 million.
Way too much money, right, which is why we didn't attempt to tackle that.
That's why we're reluctant to get, we can't afford it right now.
No, there's zero cost
We can
involved.
adopt it, but if you've been here 10 years and I've been here 5 years, and you get less than me, you're never gonna catch up to me until I retire.
Adopting this, Judge.
That's what makes it unfair. I mean, we're
I know
talking about
you were
fair.
away from when we discussed a little bit, but adopting this would have $0 impact on the county. It's just whether we want a structure that's gonna help us self-correct
It's not really
within
gonna come
time.
into an effect maybe another 20, 30 years by the time everybody gets level.
Or
If we
somebody
completely-
files a lawsuit and there we
Right.
are.
Well, if we completely do away with this plan today and everybody's off, the disparity still exists and the potential for the lawsuit still exists, if that's the argument.
But it's not by policy.
It is by
We're not
policy.
gonna have a policy that everybody should be,
But this policy does not say everybody should be the same. It says that the entry level, a new hire from here on forward will start at this.
Have y'all
The new
done
person.
your math? How much would it actually cost the county if you would do it?
Like to put
Yeah.
everybody at the same, it would probably be
Have you
millions
done
and
the math
millions of
on it?
dollars. No,
Not on that type of approach, no, sir.
I don't
But
even
when-
think it's feasible.
When phase 1 and 2 were implemented, there was a small effect in the county's budget, but real small, because you needed to fit the current salaries into the plan.
Right, it was a
But it
couple
was real
$100
small.
shifts, right. It wasn't
The
a
net
major.
effect was actually a cost savings. When we implemented phase 2, I think there was a cost savings of over 100,000.
Because they're gonna be the same
Uh,
until they start
but
retiring.
it was
retiring.
net effect. However, individually.
Let's wait till they listen.
what if that's on the sheriff's plan?
Yeah.
We wound up paying about 2.something
2.4 million, I remember that.
Because you got the same employer, people performing the same job and getting paid differently.
That is what we have today,
Right.
whether you're on the plan or not.
When Marmolejo was the
Correct,
sheriff, we
but
talked,
you give a lawyer a stronger argument. And that's really the difference.
I know if I was a lawyer that wanted to sue this county, I'd say, why do you have half the workforce on and half off for 2 years? Now that's an avenue for a
well,
lawsuit.
that's what we're trying to do away, trying to
Right.
fix. I figured,
got that issue
Ron had
now,
done the math
Judge.
and see how much, that's why I kept asking, how much is it gonna cost the county? Nada, nada.
Zero.
Nada.
Zero.
No, I mean, you're not doing it the way I thought it was gonna be done.
No, it's
Judge,
the way
well,
this court adopted.
And I'll explain that. The bridge that we needed to cross was when we decided COLA versus the adjustment to get parity amongst positions. We missed that boat because we pushed COLA. In this case, there's not going to be anything but a comprehensive process to fix the cancer that we have, and which is going to take a long time. But you got to do one. You got to adopt the model first, and then you got to look at the next few years as we're deciding whether COLA or adjustment. We make those so that we can fix it much faster. There's no way we're ever going to get to the finish line unless we do it in that process. And that really is the bottom line. Do we want a structure or do we not want a structure? And I think if we go the path of not structure, we're just going to add to the problem that we've done for the last decade, and that's going to be the problem. And that's as simple as you can put it.
That's right.
And that's what you're trying to say.
That's what I'm trying to simplify it, just to basic form here. We either want a structure or we don't. I've been a part of both.
When the school district in Edinburgh got sued, remember I gave you some paperwork on it?
Right.
What was it for? When they tried doing this? Why'd they get sued?
That was not regarding, I think that had to be on a longevity policy, and also that had to do with overtime hours that they got compensated for.
With what, Sergio?
Longevity and then overtime hours.
It was filed that step
on
rate was going on.
It was actually on that, well, it was during the same time, but however, the lawsuit, I spoke with one of the board members, and the lawsuit was regarding overtime hours that they had documented, similar to what happened with the county at the sheriff's office. There were some overtime hours that had been documented but had not been paid out. So that's where that lawsuit came about.
You know, we were talking a while ago when Sheriff Marmolet was in office, there was something similar like that happened. I mean,
I mean, it cost the county over $2 million to settle the case.
It could very easily cost the county a lot of money, Judge and Commissioners, if we said every custodian is going to make the same amount of money. So if somebody's at 40, then they're all going to have to come up to 40. If that would be a ridiculous amount of money to...
Well,
I understand.
Well, the problem with that, though, is that in the past, and I'm not going to talk about a specific position, but we've inflated positions not based by any science whatsoever.
Right.
And that's the craziness behind that, because that's what's put the county in a position where the highest, we're the government that pays employees at the highest rates at this point.
And historically, the way that would happen, Commissioner, is week in and week out, somebody would come in here, and as long as he had the votes, then it got done. And if I wanted to come in here and I had the 3 votes to request the secretary to make 100,000 and I got it,
extra duties,
then I've got it. And that's what would take place forever. And it was very frustrating to a lot of other departments that couldn't do that for whatever reason.
Especially 3 years ago, it's when it really broke loose.
So this structure, all it would do was saying an entry-level secretary is all going to make whatever it is, 25,000 or whatever number it is, and that's it for everybody from now on. Now, if I have one at 30 and you have one at 40 and you have one at 50, those will continue until they leave.
Oh, yeah, until they leave.
And then the new one has to be at 25, 25, 25. That's what this structure does.
You know, because the way I see it, we have a lot of young people that are making 40s and 50,000s.
Right.
They're not going to retire anytime soon. But at least they don't expect to. So that's going to take forever.
Right.
Yeah.
But like Commissioner Palacios says, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
We know it's not going to solve all the problems right now, but it is the beginning. Maybe 25 years from now, everything's going to equalize in this county. Maybe.
And on the strongest arguments on the slots, what we can use is every year figure out whether, if we're doing the combination of COLA and adjustments, well then that, I mean, we don't know what the economic conditions are going to be for the county come next year, the following year. Now, for all we know, we might just be in a booming market all over again, or maybe not.
Right.
But at least we can reevaluate on a year-to-year basis to make
This county has always given raises as an across the board. It's been a COLA increase as long as I've been here, 13 years. Either you have the money to do that or not do it. You choose a percentage rate and you do it. It's a good adjustment. It's a good way for people to get raises, but are you rewarding bad performance, poor performance? Everybody is equal, whether you worked or not. This system has a component in there that rewards good performance, which refers to the merit
I remember we started
pay.
talking about this.
And that component would be self-funded, Commissioners. It wouldn't be something that you'd have to take into effect at the end of the year. It would be taken from the money that is swept from salaries throughout the year. A percentage of that could be allocated to a merit increase for good performance. I mean, we could talk about the whole intricacies and the details of how that would work in a whole day, but at this point in time is, do we want to go there or not, really?
No. I understand we got to do it. And I've been here 12 years.
Right.
And I think we've been talking about this since I've been here.
Right.
I mean, I was just telling the judge.
It's a big
Judge
job.
Pulido was here back then.
It's
We
a
were
big
talking
job,
about it.
Commissioner. Yes, sir.
And, I don't know. I mean,
And we wouldn't be finished. Say you all said, you know what, let's put everybody on the classification plan. There's still some work to be done.
They can give us something in writing from state or other counties do it.
How do you propose to come up with the grade per position? Who makes that determination? The president, department head, or who determines whether this?
I think you've already done this.
We've been doing market analysis as far as looking what other counties pay as far as truck drivers. We've actually, for the majority of the positions that we've had before, they've mostly been administrative. It hasn't been, since we haven't done the precincts, we haven't done truck drivers. However, we've been using the state classification system.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you another question here. I'm looking at the truck drivers here.
Yes.
There's some truck drivers that have Class B, and some that have Class A. How do
Yes.
you classify those here?
That would be depending on the driver's license. They'd either be classified as a truck driver 2.
I don't see it here. I see step 1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
4,
well,
5, 6.
this is assuming this is a truck driver 2. Let's say all they drive is roll-off trucks throughout the precinct.
Well,
However, we would have-
those are classified to be a Class B. Anything combination would be a
Yes.
Class A. That's what I mean. It's harder to get a
Yeah, well,
class.
depending on the classification, we would have a truck driver 3, and we would also have, if needed, a truck driver 4, you know, if somebody that has a CDL, there would be a different classification depending on the equipment. We do the same thing with heavy equipment operators. We could have a loader as a heavy equipment operator 1, somebody that drives a maintainer as a heavy equipment operator 2, a backhoe excavator as a 3.
Yeah, but you
and-
still don't explain to me, what's a truck driver with a Class B? What is he going to be classified as?
We don't have it classified yet. That'd probably be a
No, that's
grade
what I
7
mean,
or
but you need to bring us
9.
something.
Yes.
Where it'll be maybe truck driver A and B, you know, Class A and Class B, that's the only ones we really have.
So,
And then have a stepping grade on it.
And then we'd have a different grade for that position. And we have that with a lot of the
Just a
precinct
tank
reps.
truck.
And we do have those truck drivers. We did go by and look at the job descriptions for the truck driver 2s and say this has to be a double axle vehicle and you have to have a Class A driver's license. And we
Class
did
B
that with
would be
with the
an
precincts.
tandem axle, not to exceed over 54,900 pounds.
And-
What
and
they did.
that's the way we've done it.
Excuse me, what they did is, to start this, is they created a position inventory list. Every single position in the county has a title and is part of an inventory list of positions. Truck driver 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 5, they're in the position inventory list and it defines what that is. So everybody is in that list.
No, but what I'm asking you, if a truck driver comes in with a Class A, what is he going to be classified?
Well, we'd have to find the position that says.
We'd have to assign the grade to that.
It's different. I mean, it's a
Yes.
Class A and Class B.
It would be different.
You can always pay him at a higher
Yes,
step.
they would possibly be classified as a truck driver
Well,
3.
it's-
I don't have the specifics here, but we would look at that.
While you're doing your market analysis, you're going to have to look at the job description approach
Yes,
as
sir.
well, because they're all generally made, and they don't specify what Commissioner Flores is saying, what are the licenses or the
To answer your
requirements.
question, yes, they would be different.
There's only two kind of truck drivers, Class A and Class B.
They would be different.
And then, you would have a stepping grade for each one.
Right. That's how it would be. But again, the issue only right now is, do we want to move forward to where everybody's going to be on a structure
No, I
or not?
understand. I mean, we need to if we don't do it now, nobody's ever going to do it.
Should there be well, I guess our HR that would be getting involved in the grading or the classification and establishing such a system?
Didn't we hire a consultant or
Yes, sir.
somebody to do this for us several years ago?
Yes, sir.
This has been in the making for at least 5 or 6 years, if not longer. Maybe 10 years of work has been put into this.
Judge, and they have to, because they have to work in correspondence with their job descriptions and licenses and all that alongside with the.
Yeah, it needs to get deducted.
Yeah. Do you have a copy of that proposed report or proposal?
Yes, we have it. We can forward.
Oh, the
over.
MGT?
What we received from the MGT America study is that not a lot of supervisors reviewed the job questionnaire that was being submitted by the employees. So what we ended up having was
incomplete data.
Incorrect data. So one employee that perhaps had lesser responsibilities was graded higher than an employee that had greater responsibilities. However, just by the way they submitted the questionnaire, they were graded a certain grade. Also, they provided us a grade structure that to based on our review, had excessive number of grades within that grade structure. So we reduced it. We went back. We took their data. We looked at their data. We went and looked at the state classification system, the way they do their classifications. I mean, they have a whole department. I'm sure there's the great number of staff that they devote to this, because this is something that's being done across.
What company was hired to do this?
MGT America. MGT America.
MGT America.
When was that? How many years ago?
Back in 2003, I believe.
Yeah, I remember I was still young.
Like 8, 9 years ago.
I believe
And what
it's-
happened to it? Did you, the court at that time accept it or
Court,
not?
I believe court did accept the document, however, we didn't
Implemented.
implement it based on that.
The company still exists?
The company still exists, yes.
Okay.
However, yes, we would be grading each of these positions. We would also get feedback from the precinct as far as in the truck driver, some of these other skilled positions that we can't find perhaps at the state. However, I mean, the state classification system has, I would say, at least 90% of these positions that the county has within their inventory, and we use them as a benchmark. However, we also look at other counties, what they're paying, just in case there's any market difference.
Which other county has implemented this in the last 2 or 3 years?
I know from the top 10 counties, only Harris County does not have a pay plan.
And Harris County is how much bigger than we are?
The biggest one.
Exactly.
And I doubt that they'll ever get a pay plan. They're just too big now. But of all the other counties, they all have a classification pay plan. Some of them have the grade and step as we have it. Some of them have a min, max,
If we would have
min,
probably
medium,
done it
max.
back in 2003, it'd probably be dealing with about 1,000 less employees. Or
Yes,
more.
sir. Whereas,
The only concern the judge and myself have is we don't want to get sued anymore.
We don't want to give him a stronger legal argument.
we currently have 2/3 of the non-law enforcement, non-statutorily exempt employees in the classification pay plan. We would have the other third that we need to bring into it. So we're a lot closer to getting it countywide than we are not having one, so. I don't know if you'd like us to go through each of the policies or,
I'd like to look at the numbers and the impact that it will have. I mean, have you done it department by department or just generally?
When 2/3 were brought on board, there was a savings to the county of about $100,000. Now we got 1/3 left.
A savings?
Yes.
You deducted on their payroll?
no, basically the resulting for the savings was that some positions were budgeted, let's say at 25,000, however, the employee was being paid 22,000. So we budgeted,
there was money
we
left
graded
over,
them based on
yeah.
22, so we recouped all of that money back in there. There were some employees that were at 22,000.
What about the 6 months probation? That's still going to be,
There's still a 6-month probationary period. The only thing that we have on the probationary is that we want to do away with the probationary step. The probationary period is still there. However, we want to remove the probationary step and allow a little bit more flexibility as far as on the hiring. And that's one of the other policies that we do have. Currently, on the hiring, all employees would start at a step 0, which is the probationary step. They would stay there for 6 months and then be moved over to step 1.
okay, and that will increase their salary?
That would increase their salary, yes. For every position, we always budget them at the step 1 salary. So there's always, for that 6 months, we have a little bit of savings and we sweep that.
After 6 months, they go to the.
So then they would move over to step 1. Right now, what we would have is we're proposing that we have flexibility within the hiring range. If we have an employee that exceeds the qualifications for that position, that they can be hired up to a step 2. And that's only if that position is budgeted currently at a step 2. If it's budgeted only at a step 1, then they would have to wait for funding through either some lost steps in the future or they would have to come and petition the court to be able to start them at the step 2. But if that position is already budgeted at step 3, the person that left was at step 3, then that employee can be replaced by somebody. If they have experience, they can be replaced at a step 2 at the discretion of the hiring official.
Yes, sir. Mr. Silguero?
Just wanted to make a few comments, Judge. Judge, we started implementing a step and grade program, and we have had one since 2004. In 2004, we implemented the step and grade compensation for the Sheriff's Department. That was the first step and grade that we implemented. In 2006, we began to implement the rest of the county, and we have currently, of the positions that are eligible to be in a step and grade, 82% of the positions are already in a step and grade and have been since 2010. Some before, but at least since 82% of the county employees that are eligible are already and have been for some time. The only ones that are not eligible would be people like the court reporters, and those are positions that the court does not set the salary, somebody else does. The juvenile probation employees, those salaries are set by the district judges, as are the court reporters. So 82% of the employees are already in a step and grade, have been for some time, and is working fine. I think I agree with Mr. Guajardo. The committee came up with a lot of good improvements to give the departments more flexibility, to allow the departments to hire at different entry levels based on an applicant's experience and credentials. So it's a good program, and we haven't been sued in the last 8 years that we've had a step and grade. So I think that
there's always going to be a smart person out there or somebody that wants to cause problems.
Well, yeah, but I think most governmental entities, with very few exceptions, already have some sort of a classification system because it provides for equity, it provides for uniformity, something that didn't exist before. So that's why we went we embarked on this journey, and I think we need to consider.
You're saying entry for, say, for road and bridge, people that are out in the field, for just regular labor, how much is entry level going to be?
Entry level, our current entry level is step 1. That would be like a maintenance 1, a custodian 1. At step 1, roughly, if you equate it to an hourly wage, it's roughly $10 an hour. That's the entry. It's $9.84 or something like that.
Which would be about $19,000, $20,000 a year?
Something like that.
You're saying that the 82%, you got 82% on, the last 18% is the precinct staff?
The precincts and the district, the courts, the judiciary.
So you're talking about administrative staff and field staff. I mean, it can't be hard to figure out what a standard should be on all those positions.
Because it's not the same when you're out in the sun sweating every day compared to somebody sitting at a desk.
Well, the court will approve the grade for each position. In other words, we have truck driver 1s, 2, 3, 4s, heavy equipment operators. Whatever you think that the person, what grade they should be, that's what they will be. Whatever the court decides is the appropriate grade.
Okay, what's going to happen? Like, there's been some incidents in some precincts that people get hired and we don't even know, right?
That's true.
What's that?
They're fired and hired.
And fired and hired, and we don't even know when they came aboard or when they got fired.
Or how they went from a certain amount to an increase in salary that was just very substantial.
Every salary has to be approved by Commissioner's Court.
Yeah, but I mean, there was some incidents in precincts.
What you're describing today is what happens with the ones that are not on this classification plan.
No, I know exactly what's going to, what I'm asking, that's why I'm asking you, what's going to happen with those, I mean.
You wouldn't be able to do it anymore.
I guess what you're talking about, Commissioner, is you have a position that is budgeted at 35 and a person is hired at 32. And then.
What I'm talking about is, what happened in precinct 1. I mean, people got fired and they got hired without even us knowing. And then now there's people getting fired and hired again without even,
Well, but that doesn't matter whether you're in a step and grade or not. If a position is vacant and it's been approved by court.
But they weren't even advertised, remember that?
It's just advertised, but that has nothing to do with a step and grade.
I mean, they got filled and, were you here back then? Right. Yolita Damian, it's a mess.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with either way, whether we have a step and grade or not. If a position is approved by court and it's vacant, the department head official can fill the job,
So you remember when there were some people hired without even us knowing?
Yeah. So can you curb the argument about the legal ramifications of us adopting and putting everybody on so that the judge and commissioners can...
I think the legal ramifications are the 18% that are not. Like I said, 82% commissioner have been on board this system for a few years now, and I think it's worked well. I think it's going to work even better with the improvements that I think you will like.
I'm an advocate of it, a clear advocate that we should do this.
I think we've done, I think the committee did a really good job in improving the process, giving more flexibility, that it's even better than what you have now without a step and grade.
Or I was going to ask you,
Yes, sir.
say 15 years from now, you said you got step one at $10 an hour. 15 years from now, $10 an hour might be minimum wage. Is it gonna be going up every year?
Yes, we adjust the table based on the cost of living adjustment that the board approves every year. So like this year that we had adopted the grade and step table back in 2010. We've been using that table since then. Court approved a 3% cost of living adjustment, so we'll be
even on the
bringing that
vacant
table back.
positions, even on those lots, even on that grades.
Yes, for all the grades. The whole table would basically switch over and
So
basically.
every time we approve a COLA
Possibly,
increase.
we would adjust
it'll-
the
The grade will go up on
Correct.
increase on salary.
Okay. Well, structure is important. Otherwise, we're going to have situations where people with masters and doctorates and experience are earning less than
It's just like
other
what-
positions.
It's just like what's going on at the DA's office. There's an attorney's making 45, 50,000. And there's some people not in the precincts and somewhere else that are making 100,000.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah, that's not right.
See, those are the ones we need to take case by case on a year by year and do adjustments.
The policies do provide for a regrade, so we would be able to look at all attorneys, for example, and see what the market's paying at that point, and perhaps if they're marketed at a grade 14 for an attorney 1, and the market's now at a grade 15 or grade 16, we would adjust that grade, and we would do the same thing for the rest of the career ladder.
That's why this is just the beginning.
Yes, this will be an evolving process. As far as on the grading of the positions, we'll have to do market analysis every year.
Me and Joseph would probably come by back then, whenever y'all start doing this in a little white van and they'll drop us off.
Before they vote you, they'll go ahead and you come by so they can look at the courthouse.
The little bus. And then they'll take us out to eat. Take us home, play bingo.
Let's see, anything else that we're missing here?
No está Tito. Cuando ellos están viejos y tú ya no estamos aquí.
Tito's been fired.
What do you think? Bring it back y vámonos for action.
Okay, anything else you want to present?
No, unless you all have any questions with any particular part of this plan. I mean, there is a lot of detail in there.
No, just an encouragement to get out all the specifics, every commissioner, and the judge, just to make sure that we fully understand it so that we can adopt structure and move forward.
Provide a summary there for y'all's reading so y'all can see.
So would it be fair, commissioners, to put it back on the agenda and for an action to whether we're going to implement on everybody or take everybody off? One or the other? Yes?
Across the board.
Put everybody across the board.
How are you going to, well, by everybody, when you're looking at the judiciary, you're not going to be able to do that.
It's just phase 3 that's left. Two of the phases were implemented. Phase 3 includes all the judiciary, the commissioners, and the judge.
Which judiciary, you're just talking about?
All county courts and district courts, but it's 2 or 3 people per
Court
court.
coordinator and assistant court coordinator
That's it.
would be the only ones.
Because the bailiff and the reporter do not apply here. So it's just 2 of their employees.
Okay.
The bulk of it is the commissioners and the judge.
Have you run it by the district judges, Board of Judges meeting or something?
We have not presented it during a Board of Judges meeting. We can ask to be placed on their agenda.
I would.
You better go. You better go.
I would suggest that would be the proper thing to do.
Then we'll place it on the agenda and present to the Board
before
of
you
Judges.
even place it
And
on our
we'll meet with them individually then as well.
I think the court's leaning towards some kind of structure, but we want to make sure everybody's on board.
Yes, Judge Commissioners. We'll proceed.
Okay. Nothing else?
Nothing else.
All right, thank you. This terminates our workshop. Let's now proceed back and convene our meeting and go into purchasing, item 19.
Judge, I'm going to have to excuse myself for the rest of the meeting.
Oh, I would. Thank you for coming, Mr. Palacios.
Martha Salazar for the Purchasing Department. Nothing to report or action to be taken on A12, A, B, and C inclusive. Item 3, recommending award and approval of a short-term contract document.
Open forum, no? Huh? Open forum? Who signed up?
Nobody signed up. I don't think there's any.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
Monica, is there anybody signed up for open forum?
Ms. Spielman.
Okay.
La misma.
Go ahead, Marty.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Item 3, recommending award and approval of short-term contract, which has already been approved by legal counsel, to the responsible vendor submitting lowest and best bid meeting all specifications. This is for moving services to relocate county departments. There were 2 participants, 1 qualifying bid. That's Rick's Moving and Storage. Recommend approval.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
We're requesting authority to advertise, as Commissioner brought to my attention last week, to include in the pool, that would be for construction management services. And it'll be included with all the other ones that are up for the term in February.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 5 is requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code 262-024A4, a professional service. I need approval of that
Move for
first.
approval.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is presentation of the scoring grid for purposes of ranking by Commissioners Court of the 3 firms graded and evaluated from the approved pool of professional architectural services. Those 3, and I believe Mr. Guerra is passing those out for you, is Polkinholm Group Architects Incorporated with a score of 91, Alcocer Garcia Associates a score of 94, and ERO Architects with a score of 96. Does the court wish to rank them in the order of their scores?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Authority for the purchasing department to negotiate a professional architectural services contract with ERO, and this is for architectural services necessary at the county-owned building located at 9805 North 10th Street, McAllen.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion
For
carries.
Precinct 1, B1, acceptance and approval of a contract document with Guzman and Munoz Engineering authorized for negotiations on October 1st for the provision of engineering services for road and bridge, drainage projects, and other projects in general on an as-needed basis, and this runs only through December 31st of this year.
This is only up to December 31st of this year?
Yes, that was the direction of the court at the time they were selected.
Yeah.
And this is just an on-call contract?
It's an on-call.
So you still got to come back with work
Right, there are
authorizations?
2 work authorizations already being contemplated. The funding wasn't there, though, so we took them off the agenda.
Yeah. So as long as it's December 31st.
Yeah, no, we'd have to come back with work authorizations. This is just the controlling document.
I mean, they'll still have to come
Yeah,
back.
move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
This is requesting for Precinct 3, C1, requesting acceptance and approval of final negotiated contract agreement viewed and approved as to form by legal counsel, which includes best and final offer for ProMed EMS, ranked highest from the Commissioners Court meeting of October 23rd for emergency ambulance services for unincorporated areas in Precinct 3.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Precinct 4, D1, pursuant to Commissioners Court action taken on October 30th to cancel the project for Hidalgo County Precinct 4 construction of a new multipurpose facility and mechanical shop, we're requesting action on the following. A, to rescind the bid award and cancel contract document as mutually agreed to between the awarded vendor Fresno Construction, including approval to return the original payment and performance bond to Fresno Construction so as to prevent any charges for those bonds.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is cancellation of the project for civil site improvements for the project titled New Multipurpose Facility and Mechanical Shop.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And C is approval to exercise the option to terminate the agreement with Robert Kistner, and that's for the existing agreement, engineering contract we had. I believe it was from construction materials testing as the project is canceled.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item E1 for WIC, acceptance and approval of the final AIA document, the 101 form of agreement between the Hidalgo County, the owner, and Highmark Construction, awarded contractor in the amount of $465,000 for the project known as additions and renovations to the WIC Clinic offices located at 3105 East Richardson, Edinburgh, Texas.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Marty, before I forget, whatever happened to that health clinic by the admission that was splitting the balls?
Actually, the work has been, there was some testing done. We're just waiting for the results.
So it's been 2.5 months.
Oh,
No, no,
on
no,
the,
no.
on the,
I mean, the health clinic.
Right.
oh, the health clinic. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about your
no,
former
the health-
office.
No, we just had they were conducted within the last couple of weeks, Commissioner. So, no, we're progressing with that.
There's some.
Yes. No, we're progressing with that.
Those in, well,
Yes.
Yes.
those in favor of the motion as made and seconded indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item F1, Colonia Access Program Precinct 1, approval of professional surveying services agreement. Approved for negotiations on October 23rd with Quintanilla Headley and Associates for surveying services on an as-needed basis.
Move for approval?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
G1, Sheriff's Office recommending bid award and approval of contract document to the responsible vendor submitting lowest and best bid, meeting all specifications. This is the Hidalgo County Office, radiological, diagnostic, and related mobile services for inmates. We sent out 6 packets were requested, 3 participants. The lowest and most responsible bid is LV Mobile Imaging, LLC. Recommend award.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
On item 2, we're requesting clarification and approval to amend a sole source declaration approved on June the 12th of 2012 for Spillman Technologies to include the purchase of all future equipment licenses, software maintenance and support and related services for the Sheriff's Department while we own said equipment, software, or licenses.
Move for approval?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item H, this is countywide, presentation of the responsible vendor submitting the lowest and best bid, received, and meeting all specifications and requirements for the purpose of award, including approval of the contract to ARB Fire Protection in connection with fire extinguishing equipment and maintenance. We had 8 packets requested and distributed, 4 responding, and this is the low and responsible bidder.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Under open forum, is there anybody that signed up? Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Opal Billman.
Yes, ma'am.
I am a citizen of Hidalgo County that has been held in police-enforced false imprisonment for 15 years. False imprisonment is the restraint of an individual's freedom of motion. False imprisonment is a crime. Last week, I was told that county commissioners do not do anything about false imprisonment. I have been arrested for criminal trespass and tried twice in Hidalgo County Court Number 2. Both of these arrests occurred because I was led to believe the case was dismissed. The first trial consisted of my son and me. My defense was that I cannot trespass on land that I own. The verdict was not guilty. The second trial, transparent double jeopardy, is a do-over trial. The purpose being to establish a preparatory record for the yet-to-occur number 3 trial. Ready, set, rigged to oust me from my home. At the end of this trial, which took place in May of this year, the jury foreman read the verdict as not guilty. A couple of weeks following the trial, a woman called me at my home. She said she was a member of the jury, and the jury had found me guilty. What's going on here? Isn't that jury tampering? At the close of the trial, I thanked the jury for finding me not guilty. I cringe now when I remember their smiles and nods as I express my gratitude for finding me not guilty. If the verdict is guilty, why did the judge read the verdict as not guilty? The judge presented the verdict as not guilty and dismissed the jury. Does knowing the verdict is guilty give the judge exclusive authority to impose his discretion, sentence, or punishment over the case? The case being me and my home. Continuance of this case is Beartree. Existing Texas law passes Joe's community property to his 3 adult children and my community property to me. That's Texas law. There's no hanging on for years and scheming to take private property away from the owners in Texas law. The Sixth Amendment to the Constitution requires the accused to be confronted with the witnesses against them. Witnesses testified that I was told I was trespassing, but no one showed up at either trial to testify that he owned the land and that I was trespassing on his land. No person, nobody has claimed that I am trespassing on land that they own. It's my land. It's my house. And tampering with a jury is a felony. Both trials violate the Sixth Amendment under the Constitution of the United States of America, and thank you very much for your time.
Item 21, pursuant to 551-071 and 072, would entertain a motion to proceed to executive session.
Judge, there are no closed items.
Balde?
I don't have anything today, Judge.
Oh, then need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen.
It's just this one, Judge, and this is for